I'm recording this because, according to the police, people don't usually confess to murders they couldn't have physically committed. And yet here I am, locked in a room, handcuffed to a table, being asked the same question over and over again. How did I kill 4 people after I was already dead? They think I'm lying. They think this is some elaborate attempt to escape responsibility. But I need whoever is listening to this to understand one thing before I go any further. I remember dying. Not vaguely, not like a dream. I remember the exact moment my neck snapped, the sound it made, the way everything went black for just a second, and then came back wrong. It was raining that night. Not normal rain, the kind that turns highways into mirrors and headlights into blinding streaks. We had just left a concert, all 5 of us crammed into my SUV, music still blasting, voices overlapping, laughter echoing in that reckless, late-night way that makes you feel untouchable. We were young, stupid, alive. I was driving. The last thing I remember before the crash was one of my friends yelling something from the back seat. Something about slowing down. I didn't hear what exactly, because at that exact moment, a pair of headlights appeared directly in front of us. Too close, too fast. Then, metal screamed. Glass shattered into 1,000 glittering knives. The steering wheel slammed into my chest, and something snapped in my neck with a wet, sickening crack. There was no pain, just pressure. And then, silence. Absolute silence. When I opened my eyes, I was standing on the road. That was the first thing that didn't make sense. I wasn't in the car. I wasn't bleeding. I wasn't even wet, despite the rain still pouring down around me. It was like I had simply stepped out of the moment of the crash, like it had rejected me. The SUV was a wreck, crumpled against the divider like a crushed can. Steam hissed from the engine. One of the doors hung open, creaking slightly with the wind. But inside, there was no one. At first, I thought they'd gotten out, that somehow, miraculously, everyone had survived and stumbled off into the nearby forest for help. It made sense in that desperate, panicked way your brain tries to cling to logic. So I called out their names. No answer. Just the rain and the faint ticking of the cooling engine. I grabbed my phone. It was still in my hand somehow, and turned on the flashlight. The beam cut through the darkness, jittering with my shaking grip as I moved toward the trees. That's when I found the first body. He was lying face down in the mud, just a few feet from the road. One of my closest friends. His jacket soaked through, his limbs twisted unnaturally. When I turned him over, his head lolled to the side in a way it shouldn't. His neck was broken. Not from impact, not like a crash victim. It looked deliberate, forced, like someone had grabbed him and twisted until something gave. I remember stepping back, my breath catching, my mind trying to process what I was seeing, and failing. Then I noticed the carving. It was shallow but unmistakable, cut into the skin of his chest. One word. You. I didn't understand it. I didn't want to understand it. So I ran. I I told myself I needed to find the others, that maybe they were alive, that maybe this was some horrible misunderstanding. But deep down, something cold had already started spreading through me, something that knew this wasn't over. I found the second body about 10 minutes later. Same condition, same twisted neck, same lifeless eyes staring at nothing, and carved into the skin, the same word: you. By the time I found the third, I was shaking so badly I could barely stand. My thoughts were unraveling, looping back on themselves. This didn't make sense. None of it did. We had just crashed. This couldn't have happened that fast. There was no time, no opportunity, no reason. And yet, there they were. Dead, all of them. The fourth body took the longest to find. I wandered deeper into the forest than I should have, my flashlight flickering as if it was struggling to stay on. That's when I started hearing something. Footsteps. Soft, wet, just out of sync with mine. Every time I stopped, they stopped. Every time I turned, there was nothing there. Until finally, I saw him. At first, I thought it was my last friend, the only one I hadn't found yet. He was standing between the trees, barely visible in the darkness. His head tilted slightly, his posture stiff, unnatural. "Hey!" I called out, relief flooding through me. "Thank God. Are you okay?" Silence. He didn't answer. He just stared at me. And then he stepped forward into the light. That's when I realized it wasn't him. Not exactly. His face was wrong. Not distorted, not injured, just empty. Like something was wearing him. Like a mask stretched over something that didn't belong inside it. And carved into his chest, deeper than the others, was the same word: you. I stumbled backward, my mind screaming at me to run, to get away, to not let whatever that thing was come any closer. But it spoke, and when it did, it sounded like me. "You shouldn't have woken up," it said softly. My blood went cold. What are you talking about?" I whispered. It took another step forward, and I noticed something that made my stomach drop. Its neck, bent at the exact same angle mine should have been after the crash. "You died," it said. "You were supposed to stay that way." I shook my head, backing away, my breath coming in short, panicked bursts. No, I'm right here. I'm alive." It smiled, a slow, unnatural smile that didn't reach its eyes. "Are you?" And then everything went black again. When I woke up, I was surrounded by police. Flashing lights painted the trees in red and blue. Voices shouted over each other. Hands grabbed me, forced me to the ground, cuffed me before I could even process what was happening. That's when I looked down and saw the knife in my hand. It was slick with blood. My friend's blood. I tried to explain. I told them about the crash, about waking up on the road, about finding the bodies, about the thing in the forest. They didn't believe me. Of course they didn't, because according to them, multiple witnesses had already called it in. Drivers who saw the crash from a distance, people who stopped to help. They all said the same thing. They saw me crawl out of the wreckage. They saw me reach back into the car, dragging my friends out one by one. And then they saw me attack them. One witness said I was smiling while I did it. Another said I was talking to someone who wasn't there. The police told me I kept repeating one word over and over again as I moved from body to body. You. I kept denying it, kept telling them it wasn't possible, that I couldn't have done any of that, because I was dead. I remembered it. I felt it. That moment of impact. That snap. So they brought in the coroner, and that's when everything got worse. He showed them the report. Calm, clinical, certain. Cause of death, cervical spine fracture. Time of death, exact moment of the crash. He pointed at me while he said it. Technically, he explained, this individual was dead before any of the other victims sustained their injuries. The room went quiet. Even the officers looked confused. One of them laughed nervously, like it had to be a mistake. But the coroner didn't change his expression. There's no mistake, he said. His injuries are consistent with immediate fatality. I remember the way everyone looked at me after that. Not like I was a suspect anymore, but like I was something else, something they couldn't explain. So now I'm here, still being questioned, still being watched, still being asked the same impossible question. If I was already dead, then who killed my friends? I think I know the answer now. I just wish I didn't. Because last night, while I was sitting alone in this room, I caught a glimpse of my reflection in the mirror. And for a split second, just a fraction of a second, it didn't match my movements. It was slower, delayed, and its head was tilted at that same broken angle, smiling, like it was waiting for me to notice. And when I did, I heard something behind me, a whisper, soft, familiar, and coming from a voice that sounded exactly like mine. You're still not the one in control. Thanks for sipping tonight's tale with Haunted Brew. Don't forget to subscribe, and sleep tight if you still can.